Let's go next to our caller from the 505 area code. Who's calling today from 505?
Hey, David, this is Isaiah from Albuquerque.
Hey, Isaiah.
Hey, I actually just had a quick question in regards to my prediction, and definitely hope is that Bernie takes the primary. But if he ends up going up against Trump in the general election and ends up losing, I'm curious how progressives might refocus strategically in future elections, or how you think something like that would affect political strategy for the progressive left.
Well, we talked about this on a segment a few weeks ago where I laid out how if you kind of game out the different scenarios, Bernie is the nominee and wins, Bernie is the nominee and loses, a centrist is the nominee and wins, or a centrist is the nominee and loses. If Bernie is the nominee and loses to Trump, not only will Republicans say this is a rejection of left social democracy, even the centrist Democratic Party will say this has been a rejection of centrist of left social democracy, and we should never again elect someone like Bernie to be the nominee in the first place. So I think that until it happens, we're not really going to know the repercussions. But there is no doubt that if Bernie fails to be the nominee, then you will have the Democratic Party saying, see, we told you that those ideas weren't viable to be the nominee. If Bernie is the nominee but loses to Trump, they will say, see, we told you that even if the Democratic Party selected Bernie as the nominee, that these ideas would lose to Trump nationally. So no matter what, they are going to react in that way. The specific way in which it'll happen is we're sort of in a wait and see on that.
Definitely. Do you believe that it would show any sort of out of touchness, so to speak, from the left if Bernie loses, in the sense that there's a real big platform that it's grassroots, diverse, and it's really what the people want as far as policy go. But maybe it would just be enlightening in some sense and expose some sort of misunderstandings that we might have of the U.S. populace as a whole.
Well, the thing you have to remember is when half the country doesn't vote, you can have policies that are popular with 75% of the country, but based on who chooses to go out and vote for and against the policies, they might only be represented, say, 45% at the ballot box, even though they might represent 75% of all Americans. And so it's tricky and dangerous to extrapolate too much from that because half the country or 45% of the country doesn't even vote.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, unfortunately. But, well, thank you for taking my questions, David. I'm a big fan.
Thanks, Isaiah. Hope to hear from you again. Let's take a quick break. We are going to take more calls right after this short break. So if you're currently holding, please don't hang up because we are getting right back to the calls momentarily.